Singer, songwriter, storyteller, Lenox is very, very much here in her beautifully colorful presence. For those of you that are watching this on video, you're going to see what I'm talking about. She just took some fun promotional photos and she looks amazing. The eyeshadow is the best part here. We got blue, we got glitter, we got like rhinestones from what I'm seeing. Oh my goodness. How are the
Yeah,
photos? Was it fun?
it was fun. It was good. My family and I they moved into this new house, and I'm actually in like there's like a creepy storage room in the basement, and we made like a fake room in the basement. So like
Oh,
this
okay.
is just like a backdrop. This is not even a real wall, and there's like props and a bunch of fun stuff.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Love it, love, love, love. So I stalked your website and I love this little nugget from your bio that says you create music to create, just to create and to say what words alone cannot. So can you recall when you first realized that music has the power to do that?
Oh my gosh. Pretty much my whole life. So I grew up doing musical theater. Like my entire
Mm,
childhood, I was in over like 40 musical theater productions, did it my whole life. And one of the things that my coaches would always tell me, through every show that I did is, why are you singing in this moment? Because, you burst into song, like what's going on?
yeah.
And I remember when I was really little being told, you burst into song because words, just talking can't express it anymore. Like you have to just let it
Mm,
all out. Um, and so that's really when I started to kind of understand that music, is more of a universal language than just talking to people. And I continue to kind of learn more about that and think more about that as a concept as I got older and I started studying music in even different languages, but still feeling very deeply the emotion of the piece. So it was just kind of
mhm.
a very interesting journey of realizing how powerful music is and that, when it's time to burst into song, it's because you can't contain it anymore and talking just doesn't do it justice.
You feel it. I mean, you essentially just explained the essence of musical theater and every musical that I've ever seen. Which, because I mean, I don't, I'm not an actor. I did plays for fun, in school, just because they were fun to do. But I never thought about it in that light. I never thought about I can't contain myself, so I can do nothing but sing in this
Yeah.
moment. So much sense. I completely vibe with that. I also read that you began writing music following the passing of your best friend, and I would love to hear a little bit about your best friend because I'm sure they were into music too. What are some great
Yeah.
memories you have?
Oh my gosh. Lots. So yeah, I started writing music in high school. Um, I met my best friend, her name's Kirsten. I met her the first day of my freshman year of high school.
Mm,
Um, and she had purple hair when I met her, so I instantly thought she was like the coolest person ever. I was like, okay,
that's the sign.
I have to be your friend. But I went to a really weird high school, and it was like a very arts central high school. And so we had like 2D art drawing class together, and we had Latin class together, like Latin language.
Wow.
Um, and we became friends really quickly and really easily. And she was also in choir at our school, and I was in choir. But she loved a lot of the same musical artists that I did.
Mm,
One of my favorite memories is we went to a Billie Eilish concert together um, in 2000.
jealous.
Yeah, no, and it was like before Billie became like massively huge. So it was
Got
like
it. Okay.
a standing room only concert, and Billie like came out into the audience and was like hugging people after. Like it was crazy. Um,
Oh my God. This is Ocean Eyes SoundCloud Billy. This is not
yeah,
Bury a Friend, all that. Okay.
no, yeah, this is like the "Don't Smile at Me" EP was like new when like
Mm,
you saw her. Um, but yeah, I mean, she was super into music, and I throughout high school and also throughout elementary school and middle school, I dealt a lot with like bullying. I've always been like a very eccentric, fun person, and people thought I was very strange, and they were not very nice to me because of it.
mm,
Um, and so when I first started writing music, I was terrified to share it with anyone. Like I wouldn't do it. Um, and my best friend was the one exception to that. And I would send her my songs. I would text her like little videos, snippets of me, writing these songs. And I tell people, like, when I play shows, she's probably the first and only person to hear the first song I ever wrote, if you can even call it a song at that point, like when I was just starting out writing. And she was the person who told me, you have to start sharing your music, like you have to do something with this. um and I very much feel that without her and without her encouragement, I wouldn't have started sharing my songs. And so I feel like everything that
Oh,
I've created to this point is because of her.
oh, that is absolutely beautiful. I'm sure. So, in some ways, this is kind of a way, your form of honoring her a little
Oh,
bit. Is that fair?
absolutely. And that's so true, and that's really how I feel about doing music. Especially because I'm not, I actually don't remember. This is me not knowing what's on my own website, but um when I first lost her, it was in December of 2018.
Mm,
Um and I had been taking voice lessons with my vocal coach at the time, and he really, really, really helped me heal through music,
yeah.
and like, honor her memory through music. And I ended up losing him too within like a year of my best friend passing. He passed away
Oh,
like super unexpectedly. And the one thing that I remember my voice teacher always telling me, his name was Jeff Salmon, he was like the coolest guy, is that, he saw me as this little bird in a cage, and the door to the cage was open, but for whatever reason, I didn't want to fly. Like, I didn't want to just be
mm-hmm.
myself and fly out of the cage and just not worry about, like, he's like, you're getting there, but you're just not there yet. And so, I like to think that through doing this and through honoring them and continuing to pursue music, but also through just kind of saying, okay, whatever, to all the people who, thought I was strange or weird, and just kind of really being myself and being as artistic as possible. I like to think that, they would be proud, and they would be,
Yes.
happy with everything that I've done thus far.
1000%. I'm sure they're smelling on that. So, was Jeff maybe the reason that you, because I was watching your Nashville blog on YouTube. I was
Oh,
just scouring it. And first off, the karaoke in the car is hysterical.
no, it's so
That made
true.
me get, I love it. But you're doing opera as vocal warm ups. Did that come from Jeff? Or,
No. So this is this is interesting. So I grew up doing musical theater, and then when I was in about fifth grade, I started taking classical voice lessons, and
Mhm,
that was with a different teacher. So I had like one voice teacher that was like contemporary, like pop theater, that sort of thing, and then I had classical voice.
mhm,
Um, and I actually went to school, like to college, for opera for a little
mhm.
bit. So honestly, it was just sort of, I have a love for classical music. I think it's fun, and I enjoy singing it because it's
Yes.
like, I don't know, something about it I just like. But no, that's just years of having to sing in Italian and just doing my thing. Like, I don't know.
But does it work? I mean, because you were doing that, I think it was a studio day that you were prepping
Yeah,
for that day, that's what was happening. Is that something that you still do? What were you working on that day?
yeah. Nothing that I recorded in the studio had anything to do with opera. It was honestly, I just feel like it's a good way to warm up and get my voice
Mhm.
ready for the day. Because I think that opera and like classical voice, it's a lot more vocally demanding than certain other styles. So
Mm,
being able to just warm up like every aspect of my voice, that's really important to me before I record singing, because obviously what gets recorded gets put out and you want it to be your best. So just,
yeah.
a way to get myself warmed up and ready for the day.
Yeah. What do you remember what was the outcome of that trip and that day
Yeah,
musically?
yeah, that trip, I think that was back in March, um, of last year, well, 2023. So that trip was actually recording the final vocals for three songs that I had written in December of 2022. So
Mm,
Psychic was one of those songs. So one of the songs that got recorded on that trip was actually Psychic, that comes out on February 14th.
let's
Um,
go.
I know, I'm so excited. Um, so that was one, and then there was another one, called Freddie Mercury, and then there was one more called Birthday Party, and those were the three that got recorded that trip. And then I ended up going back again in the summer and doing three more. So yeah, recording a lot of music.
Super productive too. Color is obviously part of the vibe, it's part of the aesthetic, it's important to how you present yourself to the world, literally. I was just curious, why is it so important for you to incorporate color? What does it mean to you?
For me, I think that a lot of who I am as a person, I express myself very much so through my clothes and my makeup and just, being a very bright person. And I think that in some ways, I like doing it because that is one of the main talking points. And I'm a
Mhm.
very anxious and kind of socially awkward person. So if I can be like super colorful and out there, it'll kind of like invite people to come talk to me.
I
And
got it. Okay.
yeah, yeah, it's like one of those things where a lot of good conversation starters come from me wearing something that's like very outlandish and then being like, "That's cool. I enjoy that you did that." I'm like, "Cool. Let's talk more because now, it's been started in an authentic way that's not awkward."
Yeah. Well, it filters out everybody who would say something negative too, because
Absolutely.
if they're not into it, then they're gonna be like, "Rrr, I'm really gonna back away from this."
Yeah.
But then if somebody's like completely into it, and somebody you would get along with better anyway,
Yeah.
would be like, "Yes, you." I mean, when you were
Yeah.
talking about meeting your best friend for the first time, and oh my God, she had purple hair. Had that same moment with my hair girl here where I live locally. I was like, I just moved to the area, didn't know anybody. I was looking to get my hair done. I turn, she's got purple hair and a Nirvana shirt, and her name is Emily. And I'm like, yes, you.
Yeah.
You will understand the assignment that we're going for here with
Right.
layers and a rocker look. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
so I totally know what you mean when it comes to that. I love the reels on your page too. I stalked Insta, saw Fred make multiple appearances, your puppy Fred. Tell me
Yeah.
about Fred. He's adorable.
Fred. Oh my goodness. He is goofy. He's 8 months old now. So I got him funny enough on the trip home from being in Nashville this past summer.
Oh, okay.
So I was in Nashville this July. So my birthday's in July, and I got Fred as my 21st birthday present. So
Yes.
he was my little gift. And I named him Fred. I call him Fred, like Mr. Fred, but I named him after Freddie Mercury because I'm a huge Queen
Of
fan.
course.
Um,
Yes.
there's like a Queen magazine there.
You
Is that?
do. You have a Queen book. Is that, and I thought maybe a Freddie figurine, but I can't quite tell. Like in front of
Um,
it, or is that just the cover of the book? That's probably the cover.
no, yeah, that's the cover, and then I don't. There's
Okay.
actually I can just grab it. I think I have it
Yeah,
right here.
she found it. Oh, a candle. I have a Stevie Nicks prayer candle.
There you
Oh
go.
my God.
Yeah,
Like I completely get it.
yeah. So I'm a huge Queen fan, and we named him Freddie after Freddie Mercury. So that's
He's adorable. He's a French bulldog, I
yeah,
think. Yeah, he's so cute. I love it. And also in some of the reels I was seeing, I mean, you talk about having a day job while doing music. I
yeah.
mean, that's hysterical because plenty of us can relate to that. How do you stay positive and creatively fulfilled when you're in that environment? Because I mean, we know most jobs don't provide that. They're soul sucking. Let's be
Yeah.
real. But you seem to stay positive in that environment. You seem to have even supportive coworkers who know
Oh
what you're doing and love
yeah.
what you do. So is that how do you stay positive when you're sort of balancing both worlds there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very lucky with my job. So I live in a college town. There's a lot of people my age, and I think that something that makes my work environment like really awesome is that it's a bunch of younger people who are sort of trying to figure their life out and just figure out what their interests are and what they're doing. Like they're in school. And I think that when they see what I'm doing, instead of being like, oh, like that's like, oh my gosh, like, you're at work, like whatever, they're very encouraging about it.
Mm.
Um, and it's also just a good place to be. Like I work in retail. There's a lot of clothes around. Honestly,
Oh,
sometimes it's bad for me because it's like I'm shopping for what I'm gonna wear at my next gig instead of
get
like
that discount.
I no, literally yeah, it's good, and I think that it's been good for me, um, because it honestly, you can take inspiration from anywhere, and
Hmm.
I think honestly just being able to, like, be in an environment that is somewhat public and, like, see people, it's just kind of inspiring for my art too. It's like I can people watch and, like, write a song about something I see or, like,
Yeah.
um, just, and it's it's work. Like you do what you got to do, and you you know, balance both things. And my days lately have been very like back to back to back. I usually do like classes in the morning, work in the afternoon, and then I come home and it's like rehearsals or shows or music work. So
Got it.
it's
Okay.
busy, but it's fun and it's fulfilling and I like it. So
I love it. That's all you need. All it has to do is just be fulfilling. So I love to
yeah,
see that. I love to see anybody doing that. Your debut, Growing Up Sucks, that's out. Tell me about that.
growing up sucks. Oh my gosh. So
Great title, by the way. Who can't relate to that?
I know that's what I love so much about the song is it's very relatable to I feel like anyone. Like you could be 75 or you could be 7 and you would feel like growing up sucks.
Mhm.
Yeah, so funny enough, that song was not actually supposed to be my first release. Psychic was supposed to be my
Oh,
first release. And I actually released Growing Up Sucks and I don't feel like people generally know this because it's just like I wanted to be like, yeah, like I'm releasing a song and it's just I'm doing it. I honestly was so scared because it was my first release and it wasn't supposed to be my first release and I released it because as I was trying to book shows and do things and network with people, I was getting turned away like
really?
constantly for
Why?
bookings. So I don't know if you've had any other musicians talk about how difficult booking gigs is.
Yes.
Um,
Well, the financial, they talk more about the financial part of that
yeah,
and getting to where they need to be, passports, visas, or literally like gas to the next show.
yeah,
They speak a lot about that part of it, but this is interesting. So
yeah.
why you're booking shows, you put this song out, somehow that helps. So where was the disconnect? Why were
So
they not seeing you?
that's the crazy thing is that for me, the biggest struggle was that I didn't have music out on streaming platforms. So I
Oh, and they
would
wanted that.
and they wanted that. So that's why venues were hesitant to book me because even if I, you know, I tried the whole here's a private, you know, SoundCloud playlist of my unreleased stuff so that you can listen to it and bet that I'm, you know, good at what I do, and it was still like, well, if it's not accessible to the public, it's not accessible to me. Like I don't want, you know.
Oh
And
boy.
I think that having music out has like changed the game for me being able to book shows. Um,
Hmm.
but you know, it's tough, especially when you're a smaller musician. And you know, I live in a town where there's a lot of music venues. You know, it's a college town. There's plenty of places that offer it, but it was tough. And so I made the decision. I was like, okay, like I have this song. I'm just gonna send it and like do it because I want to be able to keep moving forward. And I felt like there was like a little bit of a roadblock. And so in order to like
Mm.
push through, I put that song out. And I'm really proud of it and I'm really glad with how that release happened and came out. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way, but I do think it's funny that it actually wasn't supposed to be the first song that I released.
Well, so was there any consequence to that at all, or was it all positive? That
I think
decision to just go.
I think it was all positive. I really don't think there was any harm in doing it. I think that I was just nervous because, you know, when you're releasing your first song as an artist and like I hadn't ever, you know, had to do all of the, you know, distribution things and releasing the song.
Hmm.
And I think I was just like, is this the right one? Like I have, you know, I have this handful of songs. Is this the right one to put out first? You know, I was having like nerves about what my first release was going to be.
Hmm.
But then once I kind of like ripped the band-aid off and just did it, I think everything turned out great. But I also just overthink everything. That's just how I am. So
Oh, yeah, join the club. I think
yeah,
every creative person who does anything remotely creative, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth guesses,
yeah,
whatever it is they're
yeah,
doing. But that ended up being a sweet move. I mean, 2024 is shaping up to be a really good year for you. I mean, you've got music out now. You've alluded to the fact that more singles are on the way. We know Psychic is on the way soon. So, what else can we look forward to from Lennox?
lots. So I just got back from Nashville again like a couple weeks ago and wrote a bunch of new stuff. And I already have, I think, 6 fully completed songs that are just waiting to get released sometime. And I'm working on putting together like a release plan for when each one's going to come out. Um, but there will be a lot of new music, which is really exciting. Also, merch and things like that. You know, getting some stuff set up, getting like a shop through my website so people can buy the merch more easily. Um, but it's gonna be a year of a lot of music and a lot of new stuff, and I feel like kind of establishing myself more as an artist. I'm very excited.
Yeah. For anybody that doesn't know you, just a general vibe check. Who is this music for? And who is Lennox? What do we need to know? What's the sound? All those questions.
Yeah. So the way that I would describe my music is kind of like pop alternative, theatrical pop, like very pop with like a lyrical substance. Like it's very like
Mm-hmm.
lyrically driven storyteller. Um, but honestly, I think my music is for everyone, and that's something that I have tried really hard to do in the songs that I write is make it so that, maybe I wrote the song about an experience I had, but it can apply to more than one experience for other people. So I think it's for everybody, and I think that me as an artist is I was always the person who never really fit in. And I
Mm.
and I feel like I don't necessarily fit into a perfect mold of being one kind of way. And I think that I'm kind of like weird Barbie from the Barbie movie. Or I'm just like I'm just
The
like
fact, what tangent, the fact that they actually put out a physical weird Barbie
yeah,
just sent me, and it looks like Kate McKinnon,
I
and it's going to
know.
be in stores. I'm like, oh, like
I
that
need
just
it.
sent me.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, no, but what you mean is you're going to get some spice. You're going to get some color from
Yeah.
Lenox Monroe.
Yeah, I think that I'm just a little bit of everything, in one giant bowl. It's like glitter and I don't know,
Mm.
whatever you spices you put on things, just it's all in a pot and it's just there's a lot of different things and I think that that's something I really pride myself in is that, my songs they all kind of fit together. Um, but they're all sort of different in their own way and very personal and I think that it's just showing like different pieces of myself and different pieces of who am and who I have been and who I will be throughout my journey and it's cool. I feel like I learn a lot about myself along the way.
Yeah, I would imagine because you're doing a lot of just introspective work. I
Yeah.
mean, you're taking from your own experiences. Sometimes you're reflecting on that if it's something that happened a while ago, and that can either be a positive thing or sometimes it can be a little traumatic, depending on
Yeah.
what it is. Like it is exhausting, and I don't think everybody always realizes that when you create something that you're like revisiting that era mentally for better or worse.
Oh yeah. And that's something that is very interesting. Um is music is such a vulnerable art form, I feel like. Um, especially when you're writing about personal experience. But then writing about those personal experiences and like putting it out into the world and letting other people, take it how they want or judge it. It's a very kind of intimidating thing to do. Um, but I think on the flip side of that, it's very fulfilling when someone sees it and identifies with it and feels comforted because I'm not alone. Like there's someone else who feels this way or has been through this thing that I thought I no one else had been through.
Yeah, that's if that's the goal, and that
Yeah.
is on period. Lennox, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything that we have to look forward to coming from you. I'm so excited. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.